Am I on? Oh, sorry. I am on. Um, okay, so James is already saying YouTube says the stream starts at 2 p.m. James, I'm sorry. I don't know why it says 2 p.m. I do my lives at 4 p.m. El Salvador time every day. I sometimes a little late, like today. I'm about 10 minutes late. Sorry about that. But yeah, but it's supposed to be 4 o'clock every Sunday. I'm trying to get better on my consistency. It's usually I have to make sure all the family members and the kids are all like occupied and they're not gonna disturb me during my live, but it's 4 o'clock. Um is Jenny running late? Is the stream supposed to be started late? Yeah. Okay. Anyway, sorry about that, James. Yeah, nope. 4 o'clock El Salvador time. Now, if you're in the States, make sure you know what time El Salvador time. Right now, El Salvador time is Central time, but like the whole rest of the world outside of the US and maybe UK and Canada, the rest of the world doesn't mess with daylight savings. So even though right now El Salvador is Central time, it's going to be in Mountain time at for the second half of the year. But it's not our fault. It's y'all's fault. You're the one that changes. We don't change. So, anyway, so welcome to Sunday Live. And this live is all about if you don't speak Spanish, can you still come to El Salvador? Is it still a very good idea? And because, first of all, let me introduce myself. I'm Jeni, La Gringa Salvadoreña. I work for a company called Living Like a Local, and we are a relocation and immigration company in El Salvador, one of the first and biggest, biggest because we're the first immigration to El Salvador companies, because before this, everybody just wanted to get out of El Salvador. So let's see. So most of our clientele, I'd say a good 40%. 40% of the people that we help to move to El Salvador are retirees, and that their pension, their 401ks just don't cut it in the States because things are so expensive. And so there's retirees, and then there's families is another good, I'd say maybe 30, about 30% of the people that we see that use us moving in. And that's because I do a lot of work about, because moving a family into a country is very different from moving just an individual. Therefore, I am very connected in the family department, more so than anybody else when it comes to education, to resources, to what there is to do, kids groups, things like that. So either way, with both of these two groups, then the rest are like digital nomads and Bitcoiners. I'd say 10% digital nomads, 10% Bitcoiners that typically use our services. And so for the families and the retirees, a lot of times the retirees don't know Spanish. And a lot of times the families, maybe one member has a little bit of Spanish, or the kids don't know Spanish, or the kids know Spanish and mom and dad don't know Spanish. And so that's a big concern. And one of the biggest limitations to moving to a foreign country is if you don't know the language, you're probably not going to last too long, because knowing the language is super important just to connect, just to make your life easier. It's enough to adjust to the culture and the different norms and expectations. But if you can't communicate, honey, you're up a creek. So hi, Karen. Yes, you can. I will be doing that. Plan on learning Spanish, but I have been pleasantly surprised to see how many people, even Salvadorans, that speak English. Yes. Now I can say, like Karen said, there are some Salvadorans that speak English, especially in the touristy areas. Like if you live in the city in San Salvador, the metro area, I should say, the metro of San Salvador, you'll meet quite a few people that try their English out on you. And also down along the beach, there's quite a few people that can speak English, or they'll try and get by. They'll try and help you out any way they can. But just like anybody moving into any country, you are the guest. You can't go there. Please don't be that entitled American that goes to a foreign country and demands that everybody else speaks English. And if they don't, they're like lower or not good enough or they're dumb or something like that. Please, please don't do that. Don't do that. Don't let people think your country and your countrymen are like that. Okay? Because it's very, very annoying. And if the shoe is on the other foot, what do you think about people that come to your country and don't learn your language? Just saying, you know. So whatever country you live in, learn the language. Okay. And as I said before, because I deal with a lot of retirees and a lot of families, I get resources for my clients when they come. In fact, I just started this big concierge service, and that's where I get it all ready for you. Get the house, get the car, get the furniture, get that know exactly what schools the kids are going to get into, help kind of lay everything out so you can have the smoothest transition possible. And part of that is getting Spanish lessons. Spanish lessons, 6 weeks of Spanish lessons are included in a concierge package. And so as I was shopping around for the best Spanish teacher I could find, I said, okay, here are my requisites. I'm like, one, they need to be Salvadoran. And two, they need to have really good English and understand kind of foreigners' mentality and understand how a foreigner thinks, as opposed to I'm just a Salvadoran. I just learned English, but I've never visited any of the places that the people are coming from. And the third thing is they needed to have a charitable arm, and they needed to be actively giving back to the community, growing El Salvador. And then the other thing is I wanted them to be funny. Because I don't know about you guys. Have you ever taken a driver's ed class? Like you get busted and you get a ticket and you have to go and you have to take the driver re-education. And you have to sit there for 3 hours of pure boredom while they're going over these things that you already know, but you were just really late that day, you know? And there was this one time that my husband at the time, he had to do that. And he's like, look, it's a comedian teaches this course. He's like, well, maybe I won't be bored out of my mind. And it was actually remotely enjoyable because it was funny. So guess what I got for you guys? So I Living Like a Local is now starting Spanish classes because I found the funniest teacher I could find that has been doing language learning, teaching English and Spanish for, I think, the last 15 years, lived in the US for 18 years, actually grew up in, I think it's San Fernando Valley in California, but was born in El Salvador, then came back 15 years ago and has 15 years of language teaching. One, he's hilarious. And he knows and understands both cultures. And he's right here in El Salvador. And if you're part of any expat groups, you might recognize him as Eddie Creativo. And he's been helping foreigners get interested in promoting El Salvador for like 10 years before anybody wanted to come to El Salvador. And he owns a website called Salvi Life that posts up all current events and things, especially musical events that are happening. Really all around great guy. And I went to him, I said, I want to send my clients to you. I want you to teach them Spanish because they'll enjoy it. They'll have a great time. And he's like, you know what? No, sorry. I'm not going to, he's like, I'm not going to do it. I'm like, but Eddie, but you're perfect. You're just what I'm looking for. But he had some other things going on in life. And he's like, I don't want to start a company. And I was like, I'll help you set up the website. I'll help you put all the business pieces together because I'm trying to promote El Salvador businesses and make partners with El Salvador businesses, right? Support local. But he was like, nope, I've got my own things going on. And I'm like, is there any way that you would do this class? And he's like, "Well, if you set up the class, I'll show up and teach it. I'll bring all my stuff and I'll show up and I'll teach the class. But I don't want to do the website. I want to do the landing page. I want to do the payment stuff and all that kind of stuff." So I tried my darndest to help him build his business, but instead he's going to work for us. And um and so we set this all up, and it's a new option on the website. And you go to livinglikealocal.com/Spanish-lessons. And we have 6 weeks, totally immersive Spanish lessons at basic. And it's not one of these things of, oh, I missed week 1, so I can't come in week 2. No, the way Eddie does this is conversational Spanish. This is not welcome. Say, oh, it's not necessarily, oh, well, you missed a day and you're way off track. No, it's 3 days a week because repetition, repetition, repetition is so important when you're gaining a new language. So it's Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Right now it's 8 a.m. It's 8 a.m. El Salvador time, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And again, every other morning you come in and you practice, practice, practice. And one week it's all about your pronunciation. The next week it's all about, okay, how are we going to get to the bathroom? The next week it's all about how do we order food? So it's not, I would say it's not like cumulative. So you can jump in anytime, jump in any Monday and get on there and go for your 6 weeks. You don't have to wait. Oh, I just missed the last one. I have to wait 6 more weeks before I can start the course. No. Eddie has it kind of in a rotation, so you will get what you need. And the other big thing is if you've ever studied language acquisition, is what they call it, the best way to be able to speak, because that's really our goal. You don't necessarily have to conjugate. You don't have to understand why did I say hubiera instead of haber. You don't necessarily need to know all those layers and all the grammar. You need to know how to get around. You need to know how to get your needs met. So that is the point of this course, is that you will go in, you will know how to order food, you will know how to go shopping, you'll know how to introduce yourself, you'll get the basic conversational things. And the other big thing, like it's kind of like Pimsleur. I don't know if you've ever done Pimsleur, but Pimsleur is known for being the most effective way to learn a foreign language. And all Pimsleur is, with my family, we did Chinese. We tried Chinese for a little bit, but all it is they repeat a little section, and you repeat it back. They repeat a little section more, then you repeat it a little bit more. You repeat another section, you repeat another, and then it's you understand, okay, this is for going to the bathroom. I need to say this. And that constant repetition, it's good with Pimsleur, but the problem is you're just on an app. You don't have anybody tell you, no, you just called him a fat male pig, because I saw this really fun Lucille Ball. Well, she says, macho grasa, instead of muchas gracias. And well, that's kind of saying, yeah, you're a big fat male pig. So, so the thing is, when you're practicing with an app, you don't know what your accent's doing. You think you sound just like this guy. You're doing exactly right, just like the guy on your phone saying it, but not so much. So that's why you need that instantaneous feedback, so you don't repeat 5 times something that's wrong, because you're imprinting that on your brain over and over and over again. And if you're doing it wrong, you're imprinting the wrong thing. So in Eddie's class, it's like double time. You have double the practice time. It's like 1 part him teaching the concepts, and then 2 parts of you actually doing it. You actually talking and making sure you're doing it right. You're saying it with the right accent. You're putting the accent in the right place in the word. So it's esta and no esta, because those are two very different things. One is this, and one is is very different to say this thing, esta cosa, or cosa está, or the thing is. So that's how we've set up these classes because we want to get you speaking like a local. We want to get you because that's the other thing. I did try another guy before, and he was from the States. But if you haven't noticed, Spanish is very different depending upon where you're from. I mean, hello, I lived in Florida. I still can't understand Puerto Ricanos. Puerto Ricanos, people from Puerto Rico. Yeah, I'm like, could you please translate? Mm-mm. And I've got good Spanish because it's very different depending upon where you're from. So I wanted to make sure it was Salvadoran Spanish you would be able to talk and get by with after this short little 6-week course. And now, if I am hosting you and I'm helping you move to El Salvador, it's already included in your concierge package. You don't have to worry about it. And in fact, it can even start because it's on a live video. You can even start before you get here. So by the time you land, you've already got your basic phrases, your basic conversational Spanish down. But okay, if you're already here, or you're a client that we've already helped move in, or you're older and you think, oh, I can't really do this. I'm telling you, go with Eddie, give it a try. Eddie's super patient, super funny, and he can help you get over your kind of a lot of times you have a lot of fear of like, I'm gonna do it wrong. I don't want to say it because I'm gonna say it wrong. Of course you're gonna say it wrong, honey. You're doing something for the first time. What have you ever done for the first time and just like totally hit it out of the park? Nothing. So yeah, of course you're gonna do it wrong. That's the whole point. Is so you can hear it again and again and do it right. Just saying. But it's a really safe environment with a whole bunch of other little people that are doing it wrong too. So you guys can get instantaneous feedback. It's like, okay, first word was good. Second word, try like this, or put your tongue up here. Because Spanish is a very wet language. Whereas English, we always have to drink water because it's very breathy and we like breathe out all the time. But Spanish, no. All those vowels and all the words, you get a lot of spit in your mouth. It's like the opposite. You have to remember to swallow because you get so much spit accumulated in your mouth. And so little tidbits like that you're not gonna get on your Duolingo. Little tidbits about running the words together when they have vowels at the beginning and the end that you're not gonna get from doing a computer class where you have no feedback. And so in this 6-week package, and so this 6 weeks course, it's on my website. I will put here, let me put in the chat the link. It's Living Like a Local, and it's less than it's as cheap as I can get it. It's less than $9 a class, which is really good for a live tutor online giving you one-on-one attention. That's as low as I could get it, guys. But less than $9 class. So it's $150 for one person for the 6 weeks class. That's 18 hours of teaching feedback time, 18 hours of you talking and getting feedback. And then I'm sorry, I'm typing this in. If you bring a friend or a spouse or a kid, or you have somebody else sign up with you, guess what? They can get the whole 6 weeks too for only $100. So they can save $50 if you bring somebody along. So it's only $250 for the both of you for the 6 weeks. Here it is. Okay. Okay, so there you go. I put the link in the description. James, I'm so glad you got on. I'm so sorry I was late. If you have any questions, please type it in and I'll answer anything that you have questions about. That sounds great. Can we just sign up or does it have to be part of the package? No, you can just go in and sign up and you can start tomorrow. And if you're watching this later, you can start any Monday. If you say, well, I have a meeting, at 8 o'clock tomorrow, I'll have to move something around. Great, no problem. You can start next Monday. But just sign up and get registered for the class. You will get an immediate email with the Google Meet link. Sorry, it's not Zoom. It's a Google Meet link that you'll have every day. You will be added to the WhatsApp group. You're going to be in a WhatsApp group with Eddie, where he's going to send out flyers, special videos to help with all that kind of stuff. What's new in Salvador? Lots of it. El Salvador's been pretty good, pretty kind of humdrumming along. Nothing as exciting as the U.S., which is good because we don't want that kind of drama. Salvador's awesome. We're humdrumming along, kind of. Again, Bukele never ceases to surprise, but definitely not the drama that you guys got in the U.S. But that's what's going on. Tenestetubo. There we go. So, if you click on the link and it's not Spanish lessons, now I'm wondering if it should have been Spanish lesson. I think it's Spanish lessons. Okay, Carlos, my assistant, if you're watching, correct that in the chat if I'm wrong. Okay, so anyway, so that's what's going on. If you are coming down and you still need to get around, my next suggestion, especially for retirees, and you think, well, yeah, but I'm really old, I don't know if I can learn or something like that, you can always use your Google Translate on your phone. But if you're worried about having signal, because signal is not always reliable in El Salvador, depending upon where you're at, there's also little boxes. They're called Fluent Talk boxes that I've recommended to my clients, and you can have that. It can be kind of pricey. They really vary in range. It can be kind of pricey. There's a really, really nice one that is like $189 that I've seen and tried out. It's awesome, but you do not need a you don't need signal. You don't need Wi-Fi. So you don't need a what's it called? A SIM card.
Jennifer,
I'm busy.
Honey, we're gonna go and I'll leave you the car.
Okay.
You'll be on the kitchen table.
Okay, thank you. Regardless of how much you tell them you're doing a live and not to interrupt, it's always going to happen. Just saying. Anyway, okay. So that's the other thing I would recommend. If you're coming down to El Salvador, you need to speak Spanish. Yes, there are some people that will be kind and help you get by with some English. You can always use Google Translate if you have a SIM card and good connection. But if you run out of data, then you can be up a creek. So then I would recommend the box, the Fluent Talk box. And with that Fluent Talk box, it can work anywhere. You download the language into the little box, and it has a kind of a chain that can hang around your neck. You talk into the box, and then you turn it around, and it'll speak back in Spanish. And then the person will say what they're going to say into the box in Spanish, and then it'll turn around and it'll tell it to you in English. So you can make sure you're good wherever you are, as long as the thing is charged up. They do come in very much in handy. I use one of those for myself. My Spanish has gone to the drain. Yeah. And even if you have good Spanish, sometimes you learned in Mexico, you have Mexican Spanish, and words mean different things. And sometimes that can get you in trouble, because just like if you haven't come down here, if you say quesadilla, if you order a quesadilla in Mexico and you order a quesadilla in El Salvador, you're getting two totally different foods. And so again, and if you order tortilla in Mexico and you order tortilla in El Salvador, you're going to be in for a surprise. They're totally different too. So that's another reason why, I got Eddie, because he's más Salvador que los pupusas. And so so you would understand the local lingo, because the point is to help you live and speak like a local. Um, it's under Fluent Talk. If you will, I'm setting up an Amazon shop where I'm going to have an Amazon link to the to the boxes. But if you want to just look it up now, um, and just type in Fluent Talk on Amazon, and there's a few different ones. But the company is a very good company. So, but there's a wide range of prices. Like their top of the line is $200. I think the bottom of the line is closer to like 75. But those at the bottom of the line, they might need Wi-Fi, or they might need a SIM card that you have to put in with data. So, and if you have a phone that works, yeah, it's a little bit of a toss up. But anyway, do you guys have any more questions? The whole 13 of you that are watching. Más salvadoreño que las pupusas. That's what I'm saying. Maybe I should make a short out of that. Anyway, yeah. So that, but yeah, just type in Fluent Talk and you'll see it. Because those boxes, you plug it into your computer, you download the language, because it does like a bajillion languages. It's all about which one you download. And yeah, and then you're good to go. That's why I think those are my first recommendation, because sometimes signal in El Salvador can be kind of patchy. Just saying. But if you are coming here, you got to learn the language. Start with Eddie. It'll be a great way to start, for you to feel confident, for you to get to the bathroom, to get your food, to introduce yourself, and to meet new people as quick as possible in this super quick, concentrated course that gets it done for a really low price. That's it. I am Jeni Adi. If there's no more questions, I will see you guys next week. Oh, and if you are needing or wanting to come down to El Salvador, my February 22nd is my next relocation tour, and it's all about real estate investment. If you are looking to buy or invest in real estate, or looking at lots, or looking at building, or looking at buying a place in El Salvador, you want to be on that tour, because we are going to visit beach properties. We are going to visit mountain lots and mountain properties of new construction. I know a bunch of places where people have asked me, hey, can somebody please put a neighborhood in right here? Right here, because if somebody built a neighborhood, I would buy a house right there, because that is the greatest place. But I'm not a developer and I'm into my own stuff. So we're going to visit some of those types of places. And we're also going to have my expert in lotification and real estate along with us, Kevin, who has bought quite a few properties and split them up into separate lots. Yeah, so that more people can afford it, because that's the thing. Some pieces of land are in such big chunks that, normal Salvadorans and stuff, they can maybe get like a 10,000, 20,000 piece of land, but the lots are too big and they're like, 400K or something like that. And so that's another very effective business model in El Salvador too. It's called lotification, and we'll show you how to do that on the next trip, and show you a bunch of current properties that are on the market that you can try out for yourself. That's it. I'm Jeni Adi, shining my light so you can shine yours. Good night. Tenesta Tubal. I do not get your name, but I try my best. Bye-bye.